Hi there everybody, my name is Richard McMunn and in this training video I'm going to teach you how to pass successfully your project manager's interview. So I'm going to give you 7 really important project manager interview questions and also sample responses. So please watch the video from beginning to end. I'm also going to tell you where you can get a copy of these slides so you can download them for free and you can start using them during your preparation. So let's get straight into it. As I say, my name is Richard McMunn. A very, very warm welcome from me. That's me there on the right-hand side, the bald chap. I've been helping people pass interviews for about 20 years now. A lot of my work is on YouTube, also on my website, howtobecome.com. And in this video, I'm going to specifically focus on helping you pass your project manager's interview. So like I say, watch it from beginning to end as I'm going to give you the slides. And just a couple of things I would very appreciate if you could do for me, if you'd subscribe to the channel by clicking the link below. You'll get notified as soon as I create more free videos. You'll get an email straight away. You'll never receive any spam or anything like that. And also, I would very much appreciate it if you do like this video, if you would give it a thumbs up. Also, say hi in the comments section below. Let me know what interview you've got coming up. And if you'd like me to create some sample questions for you to help you prepare further, please just mention it in the comments section below. Okay, so 7 questions, 7 project manager questions. First and foremost, question number 1. What are the most important skills of a project manager and why? Now, there's obviously loads of different skills required to be a successful project manager, but you need to list them, but also state what the most important ones are for you. I'm going to tell you what I would say as a project manager and the reasons why. So here's some tips, first of all, before I give you a sample response. Obviously, there are many skills required to be a successful project manager, and they are all as important as each other. However, I recommend you state that both planning and the execution of your plan are the main ones. Now, there's loads of different elements to that. Obviously, strategic planning, communicating, motivating your team, leading, etc. But planning and execution, without those, you don't get the project delivered on time and within budget. Also, be prepared to give an example of where you planned and executed a difficult project. I'm going to cover one of those in a second, so make sure you stay tuned, but be prepared to give a specific example. Okay, here's my response for you. Don't forget, you're going to get these slides anyway, but do feel free to take notes. So the question is, what are the most important skills of a project manager and why? Here's my answer for you. A competent project manager will need to have numerous skills and attributes to be successful. However, the most important ones, in my opinion, are planning and execution. As a project manager, you are ultimately responsible for delivering the project on time and within budget. The only way you can successfully achieve these goals is to plan thoroughly and execute the delivery of your plan. If you fail in these 2 areas, the client or your employer is let down and the consequences can be far-reaching. Now, in addition to planning effectively and the thorough execution of the plan, you also need to communicate effectively, both in writing and verbally. You need to have outstanding motivational skills, be enthusiastic about the project yourself, have a flexible approach to working, be a great negotiator, be unwavering in the face of adversity and challenges, and also be confident in your own and your team's abilities. I believe I have all of these skills and qualities and can be relied upon to deliver fantastic results on budget and also on time. Now, you'll notice that response, even though I focus on the planning and execution and I state why they're important, because without those you don't get the project delivered, I also give my understanding that there are others too. So I've listed those. So that's question 1. What are the most important skills of a project manager and why? Question number 2, describe the most challenging project you have worked on and why. Okay, so this is your chance to give them a really good project you've worked on. Here's some tips. Make the project as difficult as possible. Now, this could include maybe time constraints. I know all projects have them, but in particular, difficult time constraints, maybe changing dynamics where things are going wrong and you have to deal with them, or even a difficult client. Another tip, demonstrate you have the ability to work under pressure and deliver the project successfully. You know as well as I do as a project manager, you've got to focus on the task really hard and make sure it's delivered regardless of what happens. So use this as an opportunity to showcase your skills, your qualities, your attributes and your experience. And you're going to focus on your management style, your leadership and also your ability to communicate effectively. So let's take a look at a sample response to the question, describe the most challenging project you have worked on and why. Here's my response for you to use. One particular project immediately springs to mind. I was managing a project for a client who had specific requirements that continually changed. Now, every week they would change their mind on what they required, but I focused on completing the project successfully, on budget and on time, whilst motivating my team. Now, the project was particularly challenging because some members of my team did not like the client and they were threatening to quit because they kept changing their mind. I motivated my team continually and listened to their concerns as and when they raised any issues. I found that by communicating with my team regularly, it helped them to stay focused on the project. I did decide actually to discuss tactfully my concerns with the client. I felt it was important to communicate with them how their indecision could potentially have a negative impact on the project. Now, whilst I assured them the project would be delivered, I felt it was my responsibility to inform them of the potential negative impact their indecision could have on the overall result. Now, they took on board my comments, which was great, and my suggestions, and they thanked me for my honest feedback. The end result was that the project was delivered on time and to the satisfaction of the client. Now, at the end of the project, I conducted a meeting with my team members, and we all discussed what we had learned from the project so that we could improve for next time. I always find an honest and open approach to managing projects works really well. So you can see that I've given a specific example, and that's the key thing, is to use a specific example of a project that you've worked on. Now, obviously, mine's not based on a particular one, but if you can say, yes, I was working for this organisation, this was the project, and you can give more detail, then that's great. Question number 3 of the project manager's interview: describe your communication style during the management of a project. Here's some tips. Having an open communication style with your team and your client or employer really are important. Have an honest communication style where open discussion is encouraged. This will help you and your team to continually improve. Now, of course, there are going to be times, especially when there's a strict time constraint and there's high pressure on, where communication might be limited. But obviously, you know as well as I do, communication is absolutely vital. I used to work in the fire service for about 17 years, where I would turn up at incidents and I had to manage quickly and make decisions. But I always found that being highly communicative with my team worked really well. So communication, honest communication, is important. So here's my answer for you. Describe your communication style during the management of a project. My style of communication is always open, honest, and encouraging. I believe that by having an open and encouraging style of communication, my team will discuss with me any issues and potential problems, which will in turn allow us to deliver the project on time and to specification. Now, of course, there are times when a limited communication style is required, especially when we are operating to an extremely tight deadline. However, wherever possible, I always encourage open, honest, and frank discussions where the team feel they can communicate with me at any time. Okay, question number 4. We're making really good progress. Now, don't forget, if you're liking this, I would appreciate it if you gave the video a thumbs up. Put in the comments section below what you think of the training so far. And at some point soon, I'm going to tell you where you can download these slides and you can use them during your preparation. Question 4, how would you motivate a team during a project? Tips. I think it's important to demonstrate that as a project manager, you are fully aware of the importance of motivating your team to get the job finished and to a high standard. As a project manager, you are also a leader, don't forget. You're a visionary, a strategic visionary whose responsibility is to motivate, encourage, and support the team, constantly driving them to complete the project successfully. Let's take a look at my sample response for you. How would you motivate a team during a project? I would motivate my team in 3 ways. First of all, through a thorough brief at the start of the project. Secondly, by laying out the required standards of the project from the get-go. And thirdly, by communicating with them and also supporting them periodically throughout the project duration. Now, I feel a thorough brief at the start of the project that lays out the plan and key tasks is essential. Now, if everyone knows their role within the project, then it's far more likely to be a success and the team will feel motivated throughout. Now, also by setting out the required standard and expectations at the start, none of the team members will have any cause to complain or feel demotivated. Now, clear lines of communication and expectations are essential to motivating a team. Finally, by speaking with the team throughout the project and also offering words of encouragement and support, each team member will feel valued, which is a key driver to delivering a successful project. Question number 5, how would you delegate responsibility during a very important project that has tight deadlines? So as a project manager, you have to delegate. Some people find it hard. I find it quite easy to delegate, but that's because I know my team really well. So here's some tips. Remember, delegation is an essential part of delivering a successful project. Now, the only way this can be achieved is by knowing your team's strengths and weaknesses, of course. Identify your key players within your team, trust them, and allow them to get on with the task in hand. So here's my sample response for you. For the project manager interview question, how would you delegate responsibility during a very important project that has tight deadlines? Now, one of the most important things with regards to delegation is to know your team's key strengths and weaknesses. That is why it's important to get to know your team inside out as soon as possible. Now, if you know your team well, you should not have a problem delegating tasks. To specifically answer your question, though, I would draw up a list of tasks that needed to be delegated during the planning phase of the project before identifying which team members should carry out each particular task based on their strengths. Now, once the tasks were delegated, I would ensure each team member was fully aware of the brief. I would also make sure they provided me with a situation report and update on a periodic basis. This would then allow me to benchmark against my plan to ensure each task was working towards delivering a successful project on time and within budget. I would always trust my team to deliver based on the fact I would be fully aware of their strengths and their weaknesses. Great response. Question number 6. How would you ensure a project is delivered on time and within budget? Couple of tips. Now, obviously, the only way a project can be delivered on time and within budget is through thorough and effective planning. State you would ensure the project was delivered on time and within budget by planning, by support during the execution phase, and also by having a flexible approach to working. So here's the response. All projects I take control of are delivered by proper planning, support during the execution phase, and also by having a flexible approach to working. Now, the planning phase is always done well in advance of the project start date, and this allows me to strategically plan for any eventuality. I will always create a vision board during the planning phase to identify the key issues that could arise during the execution of the project. Now, this is important because it then allows me to prepare in advance for any eventuality. Then, if something happens to potentially put the project off track, it is not a surprise because I have a contingency plan in place to deal with it. Now, support during the execution is whereby I provide motivational support to the team and also look strategically for potential problems with the plan. This allows me to foresee issues and deal with them properly. Finally, by having a flexible approach to the project, you are not set in your ways and blinkered by your own thinking. It's always important to listen to your team members and other stakeholders as they may foresee a better way of working that allows us to deliver the project more efficiently and cost effectively. Question number 7, what is your strategy for working with an underperforming team member? Now, we all get these as project managers. Here's some tips. This is where your coaching and motivational skills will definitely come into play. Mention the word empathy if need be, as this can sometimes be an important part of your project management skills. Now, of course, you are being paid to deliver a project, and some people will argue, well, I don't need to have empathy, but you do. It can be a great tool if used wisely. Tell the interview panel that you would follow the 3 steps to deal with an underperforming team member by identifying, by coaching, and supportive. And I'll elaborate what I mean of each of those in a second. Question number 7, here's the answer. What is your strategy for working with an underperforming team member? My strategy would be to use a 3-step approach that has always worked for me in the past whenever a situation like this arises. And that 3-step approach is I identify the issue that is affecting the team member. This would mean sitting down with a team member and getting to the root of the problem. Obviously, knowledge is power, and if I understand what is causing them to underperform, I can resolve the situation quickly. Now, once I had gathered the information during step 1, I could then put in place a coaching or development plan to help them improve. If it is something in their home or personal life that is causing them problems, I can create a plan for them based on their needs. However, if it is solely a performance-related issue, I would put in a plan in place to help coach and develop them and provide additional training if required while showing empathy if needed. I would then support them for the required period of time to ensure they got back on track with their performance. Now, whatever the issue the team member had that was making them underperform, I would get to the bottom of it really quickly. I'd support them, show empathy where appropriate, and put them on track to get back to peak performance as soon as possible. Okay, I want to give you some more project manager interview questions and answers. Now, I'll tell you where you can get these slides. Now, there's two things that I'd like you to do. If you click the link below the video, in the description directly below the video, you can either go to my website, passmyinterview.com, where you can get access to a free interview training course, or for those people who are in LinkedIn, if you click the description below, I've put a link where you can download these slides on SlideShare. SlideShare is owned by LinkedIn, so you can click that and you can download the slides free of charge and then just use them during your preparation. I'll also put a link to my LinkedIn account below in the description. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn or say hi, please do. I'd really enjoy creating these videos and I hope you found that useful. Say hi in the comments section below. Please, sorry to keep asking, but it'd be great if you gave it a thumbs up, the video. It motivates me to do more. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Guys, thank you for watching. And I wish you all the very best in your pursuit to passing your project manager's interview.